Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. All of us are aware that waste is a global challenge and it does require a multitude of creative solutions. Decreasing waste while enabling circularity among innovative methods should capture the imagination of the countries, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and the consumers. And if you remember, I had talked of how China is converting carbon dioxide into diamonds. But then setting up diamond manufacturing units requires a lot of investment. I had also talked of how they are vacuum cleaning the air, taking the carbon, using it for various purposes, including making art material and ink. Today, I'm going to talk about the ways to turn waste into treasure. And those methods should be easily acceptable, easily implementable. Now, we cannot deny that recycling currently contributes only a fraction of waste repurposing. And I'm using the word repurposing because in reality, nothing is waste. I was in Norway, I told you, and then I moved to Scandinavia, and I was in an abattoir. Each item, whether it was the hair in the nostril or a drop of blood, was being used. And the technical director told me that they are trying to possibly also utilize the cry of the animal so that maybe energy can be generated with that. And that's the sort of attitude we need. So the global innovators, investors, industry leaders have to find new ways to turn all waste into sustainable materials or fuels. Indeed, the proverb that one man's trash is another man's treasure is quickly transmuting and morphing into a slight change. And I like to call it all trash is treasure. Not one man's trash is another man's treasure, but all trash is treasure. And waste utilization process should take a quantum jump. The growing demand for the new solutions to power global economies must drive our expectations. And with the numerous technologies, we should not only expect, but we should, as consumers, demand solutions that accelerate and eliminate waste. Until recently, using waste as a raw material for high quality products was apparently unattainable. It's no longer so. It's changing. And there are five exciting scenarios where the concept of waste as we know it is rapidly evolving. Now imagine we use cooking oil for frying purposes, but then we throw it because it becomes carcinogenic. And for centuries, it has been dumped into nature without much thought of using it to cut emissions. Fast forward to the present day, and now we see used cooking oil and fats transform into high quality renewable diesel and sustainable aviation fuel. Imagination would stagger. The thing which we are throwing and dirting the planet can be used as a sustainable aviation fuel, renewable diesel, and it will replace conventional fuels without the need of engine adaptation. It can even be used to produce renewable hydrocarbons, which will enable manufacture of renewable plastics and chemicals. We have witnessed a rise in the efforts to transform household waste, cooking oils, and animal waste into cleaner energy. The industry doing this accounted for almost a quarter of carbon dioxide emissions in 2019. And if we can reduce the use of non-renewable fossil raw material, that's going to be a great help. The race to reduce emissions is reflected in the daily news stories from different corners of the world. Companies, governments, local municipalities, even the military, they are embracing available technologies. For example, in England, there's a resort town, Bournemouth, and they recently announced that the city council's waste collection vehicles will run on hydro-treated vegetable oil. Now, hydro-treated vegetable oil is nothing but advanced biofuels made from the discarded, useless cooking oil. And they have said that they'll eliminate the food waste by the year 2030 by using the cooking oil waste and converting it into HVO fuel as an alternative. Now, if one municipality can do it, why can't the state, province do it? Why can't the country do it? This is trend setting by Bournemouth, the resort town in south coast of England. When I came to know of it in the World Economic Forum discussions, I was really, really amazed at the innovative ideas. McDonald's in Netherlands. McDonald's is famous for its food, but then in Netherlands they joined forces with Nestle and the logistic company Harvey. What they've done is set up a circular process in which the used cooking oil is collected from the restaurant and converted into fuel, and that shall be used for the fuel delivery and the waste collection vehicles. This is the dedication of these corporates which can bring waste under control and convert it into trade. So this is the first part. Second scenario, plastic recycling is being done, but to turn plastic waste into new material is what is required. The traditional way has been mechanical recycling. And what is mechanical recycling? Grinding down, remelting plastic in small flakes and pellets, and then make new products. But the new method of recycling plastics is much better. This is used to make new products, and this can be used for certain type of plastics, which at present go to the landfill, like the single-use plastics. They are either burnt, incinerated, or go to the landfill. Both are harmful. And the mechanical recycling which is being done now is feasible only for a small number of times. You can't keep on recycling the same and same. So now here comes chemical recycling. This enables recycling of previously hard to replace plastic. What it does is it breaks down the molecular structure of the material. Result, oils come out which are refined, upgraded into feedstock for new high quality plastic products. So unlike mechanical recycling, which had limited applications, chemical recycling forms entirely new plastic and which can be used in all applications without limitation. So we are not saying replace the mechanical recycling with a chemical recycling. No, it's a complementary. It should be taken as an added use. There are a number of challenges, of course, but while the technology are being developed, regulation and standards have to be evolved by the government, and government is not doing anything. Now, chemical recycling enables recycling of previously hard to recycle plastic. And one company which is doing it is Terras. Terras and Nestle have set up a target by 2030 they will be able to process over 1 million plastic waste per year and bring it back to the circular economy. 1 million tons per year. You can well imagine. And then it's coming back to circular economy. So the waste is being recycled and the economy is getting it. And what they'll do is they'll come as is new polymers and new chemicals. Government of Singapore, I was amazed. I'm all praise for Singapore. What they have done is, I was having a talk with National Research Corporation of Singapore and Madam Grace. She is a Minister for Sustainability and Environment. She told me that the national goal is to achieve 70% overall recycling rate and reduce the waste into chemical landfill by 30% per capita a day. 30% per capita is a lot. That means if you can do it in the next 10 years and for the next 10 years after that, in 2 decades, you make it zero. Now, chemical recycling will help close a plastic waste loop in Singapore as it's able to treat contaminated plastic waste, which cannot be mechanically recycled into high value products. For example, pyrolysis oil, which can be used to manufacture new plastic products. Then comes this municipal solid waste. This is the huge thing. And the World Bank estimates that the global amount of municipal solid waste is increasing rapidly. In 2016, it was 2.01 billion tons. In 2050, is going to be 3.40 billion tons every year. At present, this waste goes into landfills, and only one fifth, approximately 20%, is recycled. So now the people have come up that municipal solid waste based fuels are not science fiction. This can be converted into fuel, especially for aviation industry and for the transport industry. As a matter of fact, Nestle has set up again aviation feedstock platform. What they are doing is they are converting the municipal solid waste as a source material for partners. So they have tied up with about 16 partners, take the waste for them, convert it into and return it back to them. So circular economy in a different way and intra-entrepreneurship circular economy, not a product and cycle. So they are cooperating with the waste management, waste sorting, treatment with the cities, waste refiling technology providers, and other commercial. This experiment of Nestle's, the aviation feedstock platform, is an excellent example of corporate accountability. I wish people here in North America, India, China, Pakistan, all over display. Now, solid waste can either be sorted into components that can be recycled separately, and it can be processed at a large scale gasification plants. Those plants would break down pre treated waste at a high temperature, convert into fuels and chemicals, or fermented of cellulose based material into ethanol that can be further processed into aviation fuel. The fourth scenario, which is work, carbon dioxide is captured and turned into fuels and materials. I talked of one you remember, I referred to in the beginning, converting into diamonds, converting into art material, converting into ink. And reducing carbon dioxide emissions is one of the main strategies to address the climate crisis. At this moment, CO2 release from industrial processes contributes to 65% of the total global CO2 levels. But these can be captured and converted into new material. There's a corporation come up. They call it power to X. So they are producing renewable hydrogen and they are converting carbon dioxide into fuels, chemicals, materials. And this is being done by renewable energy. These technologies are challenging aviation, plastics, chemicals, and the key technology for production is in renewable hydrogen and combining it to capture carbon dioxide. What we need is to bring them together in an industrial fashion to focus on development work. And now let me tell you, the most of the work is being done either in Scandinavia or in China. We blame China for many things, but China is taking a quantum jump into controlling climate change, not because they're interested in climate change, but so that they can have value addition. Now, European Union has a hydrogen strategy program. Alberta has set up a hydrogen production plan. So, but then we need solutions that implement low carbon hydrogen, and that will be the first step that will use both hydrogen and carbon dioxide. The circular processes will encourage development of new regulations, but sensible governments start thinking ahead of the time. Let's not deny that before we change the policies, carbon taxes are no solution. We need smaller scale, localized demonstration plant in the new fields of recycling, as I mentioned above. And that will be something which will be great. And now comes a I landed with something very, very interesting. You'll be amazed. Airports are the largest polluting place. But the scientists have discovered that the airports have potential to power 100,000 homes with the use of large solar panels. In University of Australia, the residential solar panels, they say, do not generate as much energy as panels set on the open air buildings like airports. So what they're doing is that they are placing solar panels in 21 government-owned airports. It would generate 10 times the amount of energy that can be produced from 17,000 residential panels located in Victoria, South Australia. They have already done it in Perth Airport. And they say that it can be used to generate twice the amount of solar energy as can be used in a city like Bendigo. And this would reduce gas emissions by 152 kilotons a year. That is equivalent to removing 71,000 cars from the roads. Actually, if you convert airport into solar panels, covered in solar panels, you don't have much to do. You are saving 63 kilotons of coal being burnt every year. Some countries are doing a great job. Melbourne has already done it, and they have airport panels of the size of 26 football pitches. Cochin in India, they have started running on solar power alone, and 46,000 panels have been installed at a cost of $10 million. Edmonton, here in Canada, they have started the project. Solar farm would have 300,000 panels, and it will not only be sufficient energy for airport, but also 28,000 homes. Building will be completed sometime in 22. So these innovative ways would ensure that the waste would be not a waste, that the waste would be a wealth, waste would be a treasure. And it is a treasure, let's not deny it. The only ways we lack imagination, initiative, but not all of us are. the scientists who are working, the efficient, imaginative policymakers, and capable, innovative entrepreneurs. These are the salt of the earth, and they can save the earth. And the technologies, the categories that I've defined, we can only guidelines. Much remains to be done. Thank you.